Acting, dramatizing, performing, portraying, pretending, call it what you will, but the art, profession, or activity of those who perform in stage plays, motion pictures, or other activities is a profession with a long and storied history. In 534 BCE, the Greek performer Thespis stepped onto the stage at the Theatre Dionysus to become the first known person to speak words as a character in a play or story. The Greeks had obviously never been to a Passover Seder during the Haggadah, but that's not what's important right now. What is important is that, historically, actors did not have high-status positions in their respective societies. From the early Middle Ages through the Dark Ages, actors were denounced by the Church, which saw them as dangerous, immoral, and worst of all, pagan. Women were prohibited from public performances well into the 17th and 18th centuries. In order to shield female virtue from the indignities of sexual wantonness, prostitution, debauchery, and indecency, the great female roles like Beatrice, Juliet, Antigone, and Medea were mansplained by dudes in drag. So, here's the thing. When you boil it all down, acting as a profession is paid pretending. You hit your mark and you speak your truth, as someone else. Ron Perlman wasn't a 7-foot-tall demon from hell. Cate Blanchett was not Bob Dylan. Robin Williams was not an elderly English nanny, and Chris Hemsworth isn't a Norse god. Pretty close, but not quite. They're actors playing a part. Now, casting decisions haven't always been sensitive to appropriate representation. There are some historically clear cases of whitewashing in film. In 1944, Katharine Hepburn played a Chinese woman in Dragon Seed. In 1956, John Wayne played Genghis Khan in The Conqueror. In 1961, Mickey Rooney perpetrated the grossest of Asian stereotypes in Breakfast at Tiffany's. This phenomenon is not just a problem of Hollywood's past. In 1986, Fisher Stevens played an over-the-top Indian character in Short Circuit. In 1997, Will Ferrell played an Arab henchman and wore brownface in Austin Powers. In Christopher Nolan's 2005 Batman Begins, Liam Neeson played Ra's al Ghul, who in the comic books was portrayed as Middle Eastern or East Asian. As recently as 2017, the US live-action adaptation of the Japanese Ghost in the Shell featured several white actors, including Scarlett Johansson, in the roles of Japanese animated characters. And that is just the whitewashing. We don't have time to get to all the cases of straightwashing or ageism. Lately, rightfully so, there has been a loud call for more representation in media. People are demanding to see themselves represented on screens. On this point, I wholeheartedly agree. There need to be more people of color, more LGBTQ+ performers, and more persons with disabilities hired in front of and behind the camera. Now, clearly, these are no-nonsense, easy-to-make decisions. Gross stereotypes and giving white actors roles intended for people of color are ridiculous in this day and age. But where do we draw the line on this topic? There is an increasing din of voices pushing for more than just representation. There's a movement that seeks to cancel productions that do not cast actors to specifically mirror the role. Let's imagine for a moment that the entertainment industry acquiesces to these demands. It is all perfectly and precisely cast to the character. Is the character gay, trans, lesbian, or bisexual? Advocates of the representative casting have proposed that only LGBTQ+ actors should play non-heteronormative characters. Gay men play gay men. Cool. Is the person Asian, African, Indigenous, or Hispanic? Characters of color should only be played by actors of the exact same race or national origin. Only Asian actors may play Asian characters. Super cool. Is the character physically or mentally disabled? Then the part cannot go to an able-bodied person. Only deaf actors get roles written for deaf characters. Agreed. But where does this end? How far must it go for accuracy? I'm sorry, Korean actor John Cho, you cannot play Hikaru Sulu any longer because he is Japanese. Too bad, Hilary Swank. You have to give back your Oscar for being a cis-hetero woman playing a trans man. While we are giving back Oscars, able-bodied Eddie Redmayne can fork over his statue for playing Stephen Hawking, who spent his adult life dealing with the ravages of ALS. Now, bear with me for a moment as I get a bit absurd. By that same metric, then there can be no more films with aliens, unless Area 51 has got a really good theater program for extraterrestrials. Unless somebody has a direct line to Asgard, Chris Hemsworth is going to be out of a job. Shame. Somebody needs an imagination, an ancient map, and a time machine, otherwise the denizens of Middle-earth will go unrepresented in film and your local Ren Fair. But Xander, I can hear you projecting from the diaphragm. Those are completely fictional characters. They aren't real. There are no elves or superheroes or aliens. It is fiction. Be reasonable. And you know what, fictional person? You are correct. Actors play these roles. They pretend to be whatever it is they're trying to make you believe they are. 21-time Academy Award nominee and 3-time winner, Ms. Meryl Streep, once said, "Acting is not about being someone different. It's finding the similarity in what is apparently different, then finding myself in there." I firmly agree that every effort should always be made to cast people that most closely fit their character's traits. However, if we accept that acting is an art, then it is unreasonable to expect artists to only paint in the style they were born with. I will say, though, if I never see another British Superman again, it will be too soon.
Word.
But here's the real thing. The issue with this recent movement is that they seem to have forgotten that the entertainment industry is, unfortunately, still dominated by wealthy white men. Now, yes, I see the irony here, but I'm not remotely successful enough yet to be a hypocrite.
Nah.
In any case, producers, writers, directors, casting directors, agents, you name it, the media industry is up to their tits in Brian's and Kevin's. In a perfect world, it wouldn't just be white men in charge. However, if this line of reasoning persists to the furthest degree, it can potentially cause more harm than good. Imagine, if you will, being a high-powered, white, hetero male film and TV producer. You are choosing your next project. You have locked in, let's pick some unknown actors. We'll call them Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. Industry trends say these two crazy newcomers just might draw in a big audience and create some buzz. You have 2 scripts on your desk for the next potential project. One is a sexy spy thriller about a dashing young trans Persian man and a hot, mature Kenyan woman trying to bring down the Yakuza from within. The other is a superhero rom-com about an awkward British cyborg and a mysterious sorceress from an exotic, nondescript Eastern European country who can't maintain a consistent accent because of magic? I feel like I'm getting off topic here. So let's get back to the point. In this perfect world, where every role is cast only with actors that precisely correspond to the gender, race, ability level, and sexual identity of the character being portrayed, the sexy, diverse, action-packed spy thriller could never get made. It's not unreasonable for audiences to insist that the entertainment industry pay heed to the changing demographics of the modern world. It is, however, irrational to expect the wealthy men in charge of everything to get woke overnight out of the goodness of their inky black hearts. We need more creators like Tyler Perry, Spike Lee, Shonda Rhimes, Taika Waititi, John Chu, Ryan Coogler, and Bill Condon. Long-term systemic change starts with everyone voting with their heads, their hearts, and most importantly, their wallets. Once the industry gets that change from the top, it'll become much more possible and effective to be able to get the closest cast the representation that they deserve. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Woo!